Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm Alicia from Alicia Be Creative and I am here to share with you a gorgeous watermelon inspired tumbler, of course, to get us ready for the summer season. So everything I talk about will be listed and linked in the description down below. Don't forget to check out that description box. It's got a lot of goodies in it, including some discount codes as well as links to my social media accounts so you can follow me on all of the social media platforms that I am currently on. And then, of course, a link to my Facebook group, Alicia Be Creative Community, where we do live weekly tutorials, as well as giveaways and so many more things to come in that group. Lastly, if you haven't and if you love today's tutorial, please feel free to give this video a huge thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel. That really does help me out a lot. And hit that notification bell so that you know when I post my next video. I post videos every single Saturday at 9 a.m. and I have so many fun things planned for the future I wouldn't want you to miss. So definitely more than enough for me. Let's go ahead and jump right into today's tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. So I have a 32-ounce plump from the Seal Magnolia, which I will list and link in the description. And what I'm going to be doing first is I've already sanded the cup with just a 60 grit sanding block just to scuff up the surface. I've already washed and dried it and now I'm into spray painting. So I'm spray painting this with a satin white. I just didn't have flat on hand and I actually just purchased Prime Time from CC and man oh man do I wish I would have had that in time to make this cup, because that makes prepping tumblers so much easier. It's essentially like a base coat of white spray paint, but it's something you can paint onto your tumbler so that you don't have to worry about the weather outside when spray painting. So now that the cup is white, I'm going to go in with my ombre. I have a fluorescent green here from Krylon, and I'm going to just cover the bottom, full coverage on the bottom, and then attempt to ombre up towards the middle. So the idea here is we're kind of making what you would do with a traditional watermelon tumbler. So we're going to do that ombre with both the pink and the green, and then you'll see how we're going to kind of transition this into kind of a more fun, for me, I feel, watermelon inspired tumbler. So now going in with the fluorescent pink, again, also from Krylon, and I'm doing the exact same thing. As you'll notice, my hand is pretty far back away from my tumbler. I'm not getting super close because I don't want to cause my spray paint to do any sort of dripping or blotching or doing anything weird and funky on my cup. I know this is going to get covered in glitter, but I don't want to take any chances and screw up my paint job first. So definitely take your time when you're doing your spray paints. So after I've done pink, I'm going to go back in with green and again try and establish that gradient line where both the pink and green meet until I feel satisfied, and then we are going to go into our next step. Now for glittering, my favorite part. So you guys have watched me glitter and ombre before, but I'll try and quickly walk you guys through what I've done here with these two colors. So I'm doing the epoxy method glitter application as I've shown you, I think, in my last video, which I'll pin right here. So I've mixed about 5 mLs of Alumilite's Amazing Quick Coat. This is their fast setting epoxy, which I love to use to do my base epoxy coat. That way it dries fast and I can move on to the top layers of epoxy quicker. So I'm only using about 2 to 3 mLs on this cup. This is a much larger cup than I typically use, so I do use just a little bit more. Plus I'm going to be using chunky glitters on this, and I want to make sure that they stick to the cup and don't roll off. So we're going to be using 6 colors today. We're going to start with Jack's, which I've used in a previous video from Peachy Olive Glitters. And this is kind of like a square cut chunky green. And we're going to use this as our bottom rind color of the watermelon. So going in, establishing almost full coverage around that bottom rim and just angling my cup upward so that the bottom is up in the air as I tap my glitter shaker bottle in a downward motion to get that glitter to just kind of fall forward. Again, I'm not glittering complete coverage right now with this first color. I'm only doing kind of sparse coverage, again, just to establish where I want my glitters to go and how far up I want each of the two colors to meet towards the middle. So now I'm going in with the opposite side on the pink with Bailey, again from Peachy Olive Glitters. I'll list all of the glitters and links to them in the description box below, so check those out, as well as a discount code for a couple of the glitters that I have here. So I'm doing the same thing I did with Jax with Bailey up top. Now I'm going to go in with Cool Mom, which is a finer color. It's a square cut, still kind of a chunky mix, and we're going to just establish a little bit more coverage on that top rim and in that pink section, and ombre down again, angling my cup downward just to get that glitter to fall down towards the green section. I don't want too much of my pink glitter to go into the green section, but I want it to certainly go a little bit past where the green and pink spray paint meet. And that's just to make sure that we get a nice blend and it doesn't look like we have a super harsh line where the green is and where the pink starts. So now going in on the bottom half green, we are doing Kermit Wazowski. This is also from Peachy Olive Glitters. This is just a finer cut of Jax. It's kind of along the same colors. It might be slightly lighter than Jax, but a great blend and a great green to add to this watermelon tumbler. So now we're going to finish up the pink end here with a super fine. This is I'm a Barbie Girl from Glitter Makes It. I do have a discount code down in the description box. Please feel free to check that out and save yourself a little extra money when you're going to buy that glitter. So this is a very, very fine hot fluorescent pink, and I'm using this to establish complete full coverage on that pink section. And again, ombreing down into the green section, but not too far, but just far enough so that the blend in the middle looks awesome. So lastly, I'm going in with Groovy Green, and this is from Maestra Creations. She had a neon bundle, which I was able to purchase. I absolutely love neon colors, especially for summer. So this is a super fine green glitter that I am using to create and finish off the full coverage of green on the bottom of my cup. So I'll just be picking up all of the rest of those glitters, but before I do so, I'm going to tap off any excess glitter off the cup with just a pair of scissors, tapping the top, and then taking a small piece of parchment paper. Because I did use chunky glitters, I do want to make sure that I am flattening any of my glitters that may be sticking up so that I don't have any issues epoxying. I applied 2 to 3 coats of epoxy until smooth and sanded and washed my cup so it's ready for decals. My cup is nice and smooth, and now we can move into our decals. So the watermelon paper vinyl that is there, it's actually a removable vinyl that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. It's right in their vinyl section where you can find like their silhouette paper, their Cricut paper, all of those rolls. And it's just kind of, it comes in one 12 by 12 sheet, and I just cut those into 1 inch by height sections and just made the width 11.5, just so I make sure I had enough to cover around the entire tumbler. I also printed some watermelon seeds, which I just purchased an SVG from a shop on Etsy, which I will also link in the description down below. And then lastly, my vinyl stripes in the opal color are the rainbow opal from the Vinyl People, which I will link. I did use that also in my last video as well, so I will link that again down in the description. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be applying these vinyl stripes, the watermelon stripes, around the tumbler. So essentially we're creating a watermelon tumbler, but like a watermelon on watermelon tumbler. So in order for me to establish how far apart I want my lines to be, I'm using 1 inch blue painter's tape. And again, ripping off a piece, rubbing it against either the desk that I'm working on or against my clothing to remove some of that stickiness so that it doesn't give me a hard time lifting up and lift any of my other items up. And then I am literally going to go in with that 1 inch in with watermelon removable vinyl and just using my cup cradle. I love to use this because this really does help me establish a very straight line when I am putting vinyl on a cup. You'll see in a lot of my videos I use this for when I'm doing decals because it helps me make sure my cup doesn't roll, and especially when I'm doing full vinyl wraps or trying to apply vinyl straight, like straight around the cup, because it does help me to keep it straight so that my line isn't all wonky, which would definitely happen if I was just doing this more of an eyeball method. So I'm just wrapped that watermelon removable vinyl around the tumbler. I'm then just going to grab my X-Acto knife and cut off the excess of the vinyl that is there and then move on to my next section. So I'm then going to just remove that blue painter's tape, and I'm literally just going to take that painter's tape and I'm going to apply it and reuse it under the last piece. So I'm just going to reuse again that same piece of blue painter's tape, save myself a little extra resource and supplies there, and then apply that all the way around and then go in with my watermelon stripes. So something to also remember when you are doing these cups is, especially when you're doing the vinyl, this removable vinyl is very, very easy to work with. It actually is. They have a lot of different designs at Hobby Lobby, and I have definitely grabbed probably one of each at least, but it is super easy to use, and if you need to pull up for any rhyme or reason, you can without having to worry about ripping your vinyl. This really does work very well, which is why I do love removable vinyl. So wherever I can use removable vinyl, I definitely will, because I want to make sure that if I do have to remove a piece, even though I always do print more than I'll actually need, I do like that I can kind of pull it back up and replace it if I need to. And that does tend to work a little bit easier when you're using removable vinyl over permanent adhesive vinyl. So I'm just going to do this exact same thing all the way down the bottom of the cup until I get to the very bottom before I go in with my watermelon seeds. Now for applying the watermelon seeds. So I just printed these watermelon seeds. They come kind of like all spaced out how you would wrap them around, and I just ungrouped them and put them close together because I knew I was going to be hand placing these. So I think I printed them, I think like 3.5 inches in width, all of them together. You can obviously adjust them however you wish, but I will put down in the description how wide my image was before I printed these on my black adhesive vinyl. So I am just going to hand place these, just using my craft knife to lift them off the backing instead of using transfer tape, because I'm going to place them one by one. And what I'm doing is I'm only applying the watermelon seeds in obviously the pink section, because you wouldn't see the watermelon seeds in the green section. So again, I wanted it to kind of look like we had a watermelon and then we covered it with watermelon, and you can still see the seeds poking through, so to speak. So I'm just going to go through and apply all of these. I used just about every single one. I'm not sure how many came on the sheet, probably like 20-ish if I had to guess, I think. And I kind of just eyeballed it as far as how I wanted to place them, where I wanted to place them. Some are upside down, some are right side up. And I really just wanted it to mimic and look like a true watermelon, because obviously the seeds aren't always in the same direction. They're kind of all over the watermelon. And so I wanted to make sure to capture that and establish that on this watermelon tumbler as well. So I'm just gonna finish this up. And then after I am going to apply this vinyl, I do go in and put this back on my turner before applying the rainbow opal vinyl. And the reason why I don't apply that vinyl now is because with any metallic vinyl, you will notice that if you apply it on top of another piece of vinyl, you'll be able to see the lines. And so I'm going to go ahead and epoxy this one more time before I apply the next vinyl lines. So I've got one more coat of epoxy on there, and now we can go ahead and add those rainbow opal vinyl lines. I will put the dimensions of these in the description box below. I wanted though to take the opportunity to show you guys, if you don't have a cup cradle, or haven't purchased one, that you can apply vinyl pretty straight by just using, your level table. So I just take the vinyl piece and I am just going to adhere it to that section, place my finger on it, and then roll my cup away from me. You'll notice that I am keeping the vinyl on the paper for as long as I can, so that I'm holding a little bit of control and holding my hand straight, so to speak, to make sure that I don't move it, which would create like a wiggly line. So it is possible to go ahead and apply your vinyl without a cup cradle. For me, I do just prefer to use my cup cradle because it helps me obviously when I'm filming, so you guys can actually see what I'm doing, which is helpful. But also because I do feel like I have a little bit more control because I'm rolling it in a much smaller kind of space, right? So it's not rolling away from me and my hands moving. I'm just able to move it in place right in front of me. That way I can just make sure that my line is as straight as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed this piece up. You guys already have seen me apply vinyl lines to cups before, so I'll speed this piece up and then we will kind of hop back in and I'll show you how I finish this cup up. Now that all the vinyl lines have been applied, I'll put this back on the turner, apply 2 more coats of Amazing Clear Cast with UV protection, and it will be all finished and ready to go. I absolutely love how this week's tutorial came out. I hope that you enjoyed it too. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up, follow me on social media, and I'll see you guys again next week.